Welcome back to Burrows, Kevin Buck, Michael Merlo, and today Gabe Zoda making his live Burrows debut. Welcome, Gabe. We're doing our Yankees Plan B breakdowns here. So as you can see on the Google Sheet, this is something that will also be available to you if you want to play around with it after on. I'll put the link in the description after the video. But this is going to be our exercise in the way that we present it to you. That's why if you're listening on Spotify, it might be a little difficult. We have all of the players and their salaries listed here. Couple arbitration projections. So we're going to start at roughly $210 million for the 2025 salaries. That includes Max Fried and his $12 million salary in 2025. I know that doesn't go with his AAV, but his breakdowns are backloaded. So we do factor in that number. And the way that we'll do this is you can make trades, you can cut players, you can try and take money off the books, but we'll be a little bit strategic about all of it. And we're not just going to say, okay, Marcus Stroman got traded. That's 18.3 freed up, because no one in their right mind is taking Marcus Stroman's $18.3 million. But we'll also move into our three tiers here. There's three plans that we're making. $250 million breakdown. You're going to see all the breakdowns look like this, same exact sheet. But you have a $250 million budget, which gives us $40 million to spend starting at $210, so on and so forth to $275, and $300 million for the teams. We'll fill out the roster. We'll list our acquisitions, departures, make them known to you afterwards. We'll take a picture, post them, and then show you what each roster looks like. The reason for doing the three different budgets is, in reality, they're probably not going to get three different versions of a $300 million team as plans for them. They're going to have a couple different ways to spend smart, spend aggressively, and then a moderate, more real team at 275 is what we're thinking. But we'll get started. We won't waste any time. Do you guys, right off the rip, have any moves to make with the players in red here, which are our trade cut players, or do you just want to go right into the $250 million budget?
We could do either or. I mean, I don't think a couple of these players should be on the team. They're kind of both in red there. But if you guys want to cut the obvious ones first, we could do that.
But I think Stroman will be traded, and they'll eat some of it, like you mentioned. There's no trading LeMahieu. I think they're going to keep Cortez.
Okay, so we'll keep Nestor. We'll trade Stroman. Is Stroman involved in any significant trades that actually garner a return for you guys?
He could be, depending on how much money you take. I mean, this is kind of how we'll throw things around, because I think depending on what budget you could see that we go through, you can make trades for a couple different players.
Okay,
and you'll just have to eat salary, but how much salary are we saying we're going to eat here in terms of for a trade?
I think realistically, it probably has to be about 50% for Stroman, right?
That's fair.
I don't think any team is taking a majority of his contract for the year, but it might be less depending on if you're actually getting a return. You're probably going to have to send Stroman away and pay most of his salary. But let's just go into plan A here. And Mike, I'll start with you. What do you think is the first thing the Yankees try and do if they have a budget of about $40 million and they're trying to stay pretty rational heading into the season and pretty conservative?
All right, so staying conservative, I think one of the things we've talked about is this Yankee team has to get better defensively, and they have to become more athletic. I look at a guy like Jurickson Profar. He had a very good season in San Diego last year. He's 32 years old. He's going to be 32 coming into this year. I wouldn't expect the season he had last season. But if you look at his projections, his market value on Sport Track, it's about 2 years, $12 million a year. So let's say we slot him in for 2 years at $15 million, 2 years, $30 million. I think that's a fair contract for him. You could put him in left field. You could leave Dominguez in his more comfortable spot of center field. I would add Profar, good bat, good defensively, and you're more athletic.
All right, so we're adding Jurickson Profar. First move, courtesy of Mike. Gabe, you want to follow up here?
Yeah, I do. I think if they're going with a more conservative approach, I'm looking at that first base, and I think you have to keep the option of having Ben Rice prove himself and be a factor there, but you also need to have a backup plan and have somebody who can be there for if Ben Rice really struggles. So I'm really looking at a guy like Carlos Santana in that spot. He's a little bit on the older age, right? You're looking at 39 years old, but the projections don't see him as a guy that's going to be worth a lot and can still be a guy that can hit and be a run producer as well. So if I'm, thinking on the cheaper side of things, I would go Carlos Santana to either be the number 1 or 2, as you have written down, to Ben Rice.
All right. So I meant to put him in the 1 there, so that's on me. Mike, can you just reiterate that contract for Profar? It's a 2 for 12.
I would say the market value has him at 2 for 12, so I would say 2 for 15 would get him here.
Okay, so we're gonna call it 2 for 15, and then Santana. What do we want to say there? Maybe throw another $7 million for a year in.
Yeah, I would say that's fair.
Yep.
All right.
That's
So
exactly
we Profar at 7.5, Santana at 7. So we'll list it down in our acquisitions as Profar is a signing. 2 for 15. Santana as a signing. 1 for 7. So now you have first base somewhat filled out here. I think that would we be comfortable putting it at a yellow though here?
Yeah.
Saying, you don't love it. It could be upgraded at the deadline, but you're good if you go into the season with it.
Yeah.
So then that'll put the Yankees here in this scenario. We've spent $14.5 million. So we're at now $224.5. And as we go on, I won't be just explaining this, but I want you all to see, if you're watching, how we're doing the math here. And then 224, 14.5 would bring you down to 35.5 or 25.5 million.
Kevin, I had Profar 15 a year.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, okay.
15 a year. I spent a little money here.
7.5 is way too much. Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. 2 for 30. I was gonna say that number's way too low, but
yeah.
So then we're at 30, we're at 37. We're 15 to 22. Mike, you threw me all off here, man.
Yeah, you're at 22. You're at 15 plus 7 would be 22 here.
22 million, yeah. And then where are we at here? We're at 15 plus 210 is 225 or 232 we're at.
Yep.
So we're at 18 million left to spend.
Yep.
Because we spent 22. All right, cool. So we spent 22 on Profar and Santana. Cashman's probably getting to a point here in this scenario where you're saying, well, I don't love the options that are left. Bregman signed elsewhere. Tucker signed elsewhere. The asking price for Bellinger is way too much, and they're asking us to take that whole contract. So that's not something that you want to do in that scenario. I think here in this situation, do the Yankees try and open up a couple extra million by moving Jose Trevino? Do you guys think this is a player that you can just move off of his, how much money is it here? It's $3.4 million. That's an arbitration guess. Do you guys think Trevino is a player that you can send off for cash considerations or a low-level prospect, and a team will take that whole $3 million?
I wouldn't.
Okay, Mike, what do you think?
I think you can. I don't know if Gabe says he wouldn't. You want the backup catcher, and I could agree with that to a point. I do think there are teams that would be willing to take the catcher, though. There's a lot of teams with catching openings here, and teams looking for catchers. So I think you could absolutely move Trevino.
All right, so now I'm just going to take a quick look through here. Where do we think we should go next? Bullpen or back into the lineup?
Let's look at some bullpen stuff. Why don't we?
Because I think at this point, you're probably trying to shore up the pitching. We're not going to move Trevino. We're going to hold Trevino. Let's go through the bullpen here. Bullpen we did speak about right before we jumped on. This is the toughest, I think, place for the Yankees to decide how they want to prioritize and how they want to build this.
I think if we're just going for this route, and you guys can, add whatever you want. I think if we're just going for this route, there's nothing more obvious to me than just bringing back Tim Hill and Tommy Kahnle. And you do both of those moves, and you have two guys that provided for you last year. Tim Hill's not going to cost a lot, if anything, really at all. And then Tommy Kahnle, you might have to spend a little bit on. But if you want to just make the bare bones stuff there, I think those are two moves that the Yankees would be very happy to make.
I'm cool with Tim Hill. Kahnle, I might squash Kahnle. But Mike, you'll be the deciding vote on Kahnle here.
I think you're going to want to get a lefty in here, right?
And you kind of do that with Hill, but you're looking.
You
for
really trust Hill getting your
no.
outs here? Would you look to somebody like Brooks Raley coming off of Tommy John here? Would you look at Andrew Chafin, Ryan Yarborough? I'm just going down the list. I know the dream would be Tanner Scott, right? But Scott's gonna, command $15, $16 million a year. So I would lean towards what Gabe said. Bring Canely back and bring Hill back. And if a lefty reliever is a massive need, you add it at the deadline.
Okay, Tim Hill, I'm going to call 2 for $8. Probably have an option in there, but we'll give him $4 million a year there. So that puts us at 236 after Hill. And then Rayleigh, can someone just check out his market value?
I would go Canely. I would go Canely.
You would go Canely.
Yeah, I would agree with Gabe here, and I'll check out.
So you're saying that this bullpen you're happy with going into the season?
Going into the season, yes. At the deadline, probably things, you need to shake something up. But I think going into the season, I'm pretty happy with that.
All right, then Canely, we're giving a 1-year deal.
Because let's not forget, Loizaga, man. A healthy Loizaga is really good. Really.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was very happy to see him resign. The fake Mets report the other day disappointed me.
Yeah.
But I thought that we were going to lose him. Mike
Frost back.
Yeah.
Hamilton healthy.
Jake Cousins.
I like this. I like
right.
Cousins. I do like this pen. I like this.
What are we
pen
giving
here.
Canely?
1 for $8, maybe. There's a lot of interesting.
You think he gets 8?
Market value has him at 5. We could go a little bit over, but
we'll go.
There's
8.
a lot of interest in Canely.
We'll go 8. Say that there's an overpay. You always have to factor in an overpay here, especially the way the market's gone so far. So now Canely is going to put us at $6 million to spend in this scenario. And if I do think when I was planning through it, this is the toughest scenario to judge.
Yes,
is what are the Yankees able to do with this money?
Because you think they're going to be at the 275 range, and I think they're going to go over that. I mean, I think the realistic scenario is going over that.
I think they're roughly, and I do want to say before we go through this, a team's not going to say our budget's 250, we're not going over. I think that we could safely say in these scenarios, if there's a situation that we think is realistic and that we want to do, we could go 10 million over or under either side.
Yeah.
Do we want to say that?
Yeah.
Because we shouldn't just be saying, okay, 6 million we have to spend exactly 6 million. We could end it here. Do you guys think that this scenario is just done if this is their rough budget is 250? Or do you think that they move out a player like Stroman, move out a player like LeMahieu here? And because remember, we still do have DJ. I'm just going to put DJ in there at first base.
But if you're spending around the edges here, what else are you adding? You know what I mean?
I think this is a scenario. If I have 6 million left, and I don't think it's going to happen in real life, so that's why I'm hesitant to bring it up. I could see them bringing back Gleyber Torres.
Me too. I could see that happening
For a 1-year deal. Give Durbin another year to develop. Maybe you play him a little bit. Maybe he comes up after April. You save the year of service time. Maybe he comes up, and he's a May 1st call-up, and you let him play a little bit if Torres is struggling. But I could see them bringing Gleyber Torres back in this scenario.
I wouldn't mind it because then at that point, Gleyber Torres, that contract, you'd think you're thinking, I don't know, closer to 15, 16, something like that. I think the market has him really low, but I think it'd have to be something like that to get him back onto the roster. And then you're looking at, you're a little bit at 10 million over. So, I mean, that would be perfect in that range if we wanted to add him back. I could definitely see. I mean, the second half of Gleyber Torres' Yankees season last year, I mean, he was one of the best hitters on that roster. So, I mean, I don't see why the Yankees wouldn't at least have that as an idea.
I think Torres ends up getting less than his market value also. There does not sound to be a lot of interest out there. Second base is becoming a tricky position in baseball. But, yeah, I think that Torres in this scenario, do we want to put him on the team, though, here? Or do we think it's just too unrealistic for him to come back?
I don't think he's coming back.
Yeah,
I think it's ran its course here in New York.
That's my problem with this is I don't think that he comes back. Now, what about going out, adding a third baseman in these scenarios? Remember, Jazz Chisholm's a guy with position flexibility. Oswaldo Cabrera is a guy with position flexibility. Do you think that the Yankees add a third baseman in one of these scenarios?
I have them adding a third baseman when we get to more money to spend here.
Okay. So do we want to call it on this? Do they add a guy like Moncada? Do they add a guy like Patrick Wisdom? Is he just a guy that?
No, I think at this point you're done here.
All right, we're done here. We're gonna move to 275. We'll have a lot more subject matter on these moves, but I think here we'll just recap it quick. Not the worst $250 million situation. I think getting Profar would help them, make them a little bit better. But you don't think at this stage you have a team that can get back to the World Series as it stands going into the season? I don't think.
No.
You might because of the weakness of the American League, but You don't love it. So now in this scenario, Mike, start with you again. 275. Where are the Yankees going? Now you have $65 million to spend.
So here I would make a move. It's tough because I have my big plan of them spending a lot, and I don't want to spoil that. So I would bring in Profar again. I could also see them going with the Christian Walker. I mean, I see the pros and cons of Walker. I understand why they wouldn't want to make that move because he's a aging bat, a right-handed bat. You'd have to give up the draft pick again like you did with Fried. Do you go, and I'm genuinely asking, would you go Walker? Do you guys feel comfortable with Walker here?
Yeah, I like Walker here.
Yep, I love Walker.
In this spot, I like Walker. He was one of my guys that I was going to go with in this scenario. So I'm just messing up our whole thing here, but don't worry.
It's okay.
And then what contract do you want to give him?
I think Walker gets 3 for $60.
Yeah, that's what I was feeling as well.
And then maybe I think that deal would have some sort of an option on the other end, but we're calling it $20 million a year here. So we're at $230 after Walker, and we have $45 million left to spend. Gabe, you are on the clock.
All right, let's get a little bit fun here. Let's do this. I think Seiya Suzuki is the trade candidate here in this area. You'd have to. I think Seiya Suzuki would actually have his waive his no trade clause for the Yankees. He's reported to not want to do that with the Houston Astros. So I think the Cubs, if they want to do that, or if he wants to do that, I think you could have him as an outfield option. I think that would be a fun move for this team because, look, you look at Seiya Suzuki's numbers. That's a productive bat you could have in that outfield as well. I wanted to think a little bit differently on this route, so that would be my option there.
So you're putting him in left?
Yep, I am.
All right, and then
Suzuki is a guy to me. It's shocking that he's available.
Yeah. I know that's a big surprise, and I like that Gabe went here because he's not a name that I was thinking of. And listen, how often do you look back on an offseason and said, "Oh, well, every move was predictable, every move was rumored and reported about"? That doesn't really happen, especially with the Yankees. So we're adding Suzuki here. That's a trade. Do you have anyone significant that you're giving up?
Significant? No, I think this is one of those things where you'll have to give up and eat a lot of Stroman's contract to bring him back over to Chicago. And kind of he could be the end of the rotation guy for the Cubs. And I think they would be okay with that if you take, let's say, 50% of that contract. So right now, Suzuki is going to make $19 million. Let's say 19. You have to take what is it? Would be 8 or 9 for Stroman.
Let's say we're paying him 10. Let's say we're paying him 10 here.
Okay, so that's a decent chunk of change there. But it's what is that, 20? It would be 30.
29 mil. Yeah, 29 mil for
that.
Suzuki's going to cost a lot of prospect capital.
Yeah, he is. So, and in the trade for Suzuki, obviously you're ruling out a trade for Tucker. You're ruling out a trade for
Bellinger.
Yeah, so we're at 259 now on this budget. Suzuki, that's a significant trade. And that would be a big surprise, right, if they went for Suzuki over Bellinger, if that was the trade with the Cubs this offseason.
Yeah.
So now we're looking at third base, center field, second base, bullpen, where Stroman's gone. Thank heavens, Stroman's gone. So we're paying $10 million of Stroman. He's out. Do we have a need at starting pitcher now? No. Because you still have Cortez, you still have Schmidt, Rodon, Heel, Fried, Cole. Bullpen, I think we have to go back and make a move eventually, but with $16 million left to spend, maybe we look towards that second base, third base market. Do you guys have any more significant moves here before I go to look for one?
Nothing here.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to our free agents here. I think it's a tough spot for the Yankees, right? If they're restricted to, say, we can spend up to $20 million left here if we want to keep it safe, we want to add some bullpen,
right?
Have a little flexibility, but you're still saving your money on it. Do you go get a guy? I think Moncada is a guy that they could grab here, and you're probably paying him pennies, for a prove-it deal. I think that his value would fall in about $7-8 million a year. Moncada. Do you think that's an ad for third base here?
Let me see here. Just trying to look at what his last season was, because I'm just trying to see if the Yankees, if it makes sense for the Yankees to, because then what? Then you would have the ability to have Caleb Durbin still be kind of in the wings, move Jazz over to second base, one of his natural spots, right? And then you had Moncada at third. So I could see that. I mean, Moncada wouldn't be a guy I'd be too excited to get, but if they're really itching to move Jazz over to second base because they don't want Durbin up right now, which is a move that the Yankees do a lot of times with their prospects, they'll keep them down there for a little bit longer. I could see that happening at third base.
The tough part when you look through this is there are no good third base options besides Alex Bregman.
Yeah.
And I don't think Bregman is an incredibly realistic signing here for the Yankees. It just doesn't feel like there's enough interest.
No, I mean, the only thing that could happen at third base if you really want to shake things up is Alec Bohm, but I don't think that's happening either.
No, I don't think so. All right, so maybe they get a little creative here. Can they go and now move for a pitcher, another starter, and then deal one of Schmidt-Rodon? These are the problems I'm having as I've created too many scenarios for myself to consider. And now I'm trying to think, who would they actually trade those guys for who would they trade Schmidt for if Tucker was off the table? Who would Heel go for if Tucker was off the table?
I don't think there's any guys that worth currently talking about, in terms of rumors that would go for those particular players.
No.
I have a couple of trades in the next scenario that I'm very excited for you guys to hear, but I don't think I would move Heel or Schmidt for any of the two guys I have them trading for.
No, and you really need to in this situation. I mean, you look at the free agents that are left over. You need a guy, if you're adding a bat, it has to be a second baseman or third baseman, because you're not going to add a first baseman who has starter quality after adding Walker. You're not going to add an outfielder now unless you're replacing Dominguez, which in this scenario I don't think they are. They have Trent Grisham out there as the backup, so you're not going to add a guy like Bader on a low deal to just play defense and be a defensive sub and every third-day player. So I'm just trying to figure out here, what makes sense for them.
In this scenario, I think I actually would move a guy like Heel for Suzuki. Suzuki has 2 more years left on the deal, or 3?
I just saw. I think it's 3, including this upcoming season.
I think I would move Heel for a guy. I think Suzuki's a very good and underrated player. I think I would.
You'd have to move Heel and then a good top 10 prospect in your system to get him.
Yeah.
If that's he's got 3 years left. He's done no, he's got 2 left. He's done in 26, a UFA in 27, but he's going to be 30 on opening day. So you might not even be keen on re-signing him in 2 years, but it's good.
Trading a guy in his prime, good, solid player, steals some bags, got some pop, gets on base.
Yeah, this is tough. I'm hitting a wall right here.
Yeah, so I mean, if you want, because then that would kind of change our whole financial outlook, right? Since we're not paying Stroman at that point, right?
Well, we wouldn't be sending Stroman. You're saying
if we're giving up Heel and a top whatever prospect, right?
Yeah, we'd probably be keeping Stroman unless we're saying, listen, we're giving you Heel and a top prospect. You have to take Stroman's $8 million still.
I don't know. That's how much pitching do the Cubs really need at that point? That they would need 2 starters, one a quality starter, the other one who can get you through a regular season.
I don't think you're trading Stroman in this scenario. I think Stroman's a separate trade and a dump.
All right, so do we want to bring Stroman back to our club? Or
let's do it, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to bring Stroman back, and we're going to send out Luis Heel to the Cubs. Stroman, welcome back. That's tragic. Just type that back in sucks.
Let's go.
And then Heel, his value is only at 800,000, so we're really not opening much up for ourselves, but we're losing that that $8 million that we just thought we had off the books. So we only have $8 million left to spend now.
And now you really have to be penny pinching in the bullpen.
Yeah.
Which already, as is, once again, isn't bad, the bullpen. You have 4 guys that you really like, maybe, possibly 5 guys that you really like, and then the rest of them are kind of whatever.
Oh, wait, I mathed this wrong before.
All right, so while you figure that out,
we should have been adding to Stroman. It shouldn't have been 29. It should have been Suzuki's 21, and then you're taking 8 off the books. So it should have only been an increase of 13. Boys, we have more money than we thought.
Okay, this is huge then.
It should have only been an increase of 13, but then so Suzuki was making what?
19.
19. So it's just an increase of 19 from before. So I have to take away the other 10. So we have 249 mil. I'm not even going to change the numbers with the heel departure because it's only 800,000. So I'm not even going to change it.
Not worth it.
We're at 249, 26 million left to spend for Suzuki. Where do you go here with 26 mil extra? That's tough. That's a tough place again, because do you spend it on 4 or 5 players that could just be good? Like guys like Tim Hill, guys like Tommy Kahnle. Do you just spend it on those arms? Get some bench bat. I'd like a better backup catcher here too, but we could talk about that down the road. Mike, what do you got?
Can I spoil what I was going to have? And I'm going to keep this the same. My same plan in the 300 million. I think you guys are going to absolutely hate this.
Okay.
And I'll be honest with you. I think the Mets should do this if they lose out on Alonso. I would go and trade for Arenado.
Okay.
Oh man.
$21 million this year, and then 16 and 15 for the next 2 years. I don't believe that it's going to cost a ton of prospect capital.
No.
So I think that is a good. If you eat the 64 remaining, whatever it is on the contract, I think you lessen your prospects going back. I think Arenado works here for the Yankees. You get Jazz off of a third base. I think that is a must.
I don't.
Getting Jazz off of third base.
I don't.
I mean, want him playing third.
You might not want him playing third because he's better at second base. I think that would be a reason. I think, and everything we've heard from Boone, he says he liked what he saw from Jazz at third. He likes giving him an offseason to keep developing at third base because of the prospect of a Caleb Durbin at second base. So, I mean, I don't think it's a must. I didn't think he was good at third base last year, but I think you give him an offseason to actually develop it. I think he can be definitely solid over there without much of a worry.
What I have with Chisholm at second versus third is I think Chisholm gives you the opportunity to be elite up the middle, but he never gives you the opportunity to be elite on the left side. So I like the upside of him at second. I think with a full offseason, he could be a good third baseman. So I'm not too adamant on him playing there or not playing there. But
are we really putting green for Nolan Arenado at third base?
Well, now you're not filling it at all. It's done. It's totally locked up as a no need. If you're getting Arenado, because you're not that you feel like, wow, we just got one of the best third basemen in baseball, but I mean, if Volpe's a green, at short, I think Arenado is probably as good of a third baseman as Volpe.
You are now as good as you can be defensively in almost every position. Walker's a Gold Glove first baseman. Chisholm can stick it at second. We know about Volpe at short. Arenado's still a great defender at third. And in the outfield, you're better than you were last year. You have one of the best right fielders, if not the best defensive right fielder. Dominguez has shown he can play center. We have to see it at the major league level. And Suzuki's a fine corner outfielder. I think you're in a good spot here. I really do.
I think Tim Hill is a guy that you now have to add.
You got to go cheap with the pen here again.
Yeah, you got to go
cheap. You got to go for Tim Hill. We're going to give him the same 2 for $8.
But is it a massive need with the guys you have coming back? You have Hamilton. Hamilton's coming back, correct? He was good before he got hurt last season.
Yeah, but Tim Hill's a total need because you have no lefty.
Okay, fine. Or Rayleigh. You want to change it up. I like Hill, though. It's fine.
I think Hill, the reason I'm going to keep putting Hill is because I think Hill comes back.
Okay.
So I think if we're trying to get some accuracy here,
right,
Hill's a nice. Suzuki's making $19 million in 2025. So in an Arenado deal, how do we think that looks in a return? What do we think that the Yankees actually have to give up if you're taking that whole thing? Mike, you kind of touched on it. But
I don't think it's much. I think it's mid-level prospects. You're taking on the rest of the contract. They're not in any scenario in which they're trying to compete here. Maybe they say, you know what? Hey, let's split Stroman's contract. We could use a guy to eat innings at the back half of the rotation there. Not to screw with your math again. We don't have to. I'm just spitballing. I think it's mid-level prospects.
All right, and we have $1 million left to sign here. I do think in this scenario they're going to want to add a really bad starter.
Oh man, what's your name?
I'm just gonna look through quick. I don't have a list here of really bad starters already, and I'm not re-signing Andrew Heaney. So
you're not. You don't have David. You don't have the David Stearns.
No, I don't have the David Stearns, who's the worst guy I can sign today at pitcher list.
Fix.
And fix, exactly. Who's the worst guy available who had one good year 5 years ago that I could revive?
It's that meme. It's that I mentioned this a couple weeks ago, Gabe. It's like this cassette that's thrown out on the street with a sign on it, and it says,
"Oh no, I heard this.
Broken, but really could be fun to fix." That's David Stearns approaching and starting pitching.
I
have two names here. I have two names here.
Oh God,
$2 million each in value. Spencer Turnbull, Cookie Carrasco, Mike's old friend.
Yeah, I go Turnbull because he could go into the bullpen. Cookie Carrasco. What are we doing?
Cookie.
All right, so we're just gonna add Turnbull for $2-3 million and go a little bit over, and then call it a.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Cookie.
I have a full
-2 WAR last year too.
I have a foolproof plan to get the Yankees back into the World Series. Just want to let you know.
And the $300 million option.
Yeah, foolproof.
Okay, you know what we're gonna do?
Back in the World Series.
We are going to create two $300 million options because we've only been at this, and I just want Mike's entire one. That's why I'm gonna just roll with that plan, and then we'll make a second one. Because Mike seems very excited about this. So Turnbull gets put in. We'll just throw him in the bullpen here. Not even putting his first name because he'll never pitch for the Yankees. And that's an ad. Okay, so we end up here going to 277, just over. I can't scroll up. Computer's broken. All right, so we got a 277 here.
Are we feeling good about this?
This team, listen, now this is the first team that we've laid out where I'm saying they can get back to the World Series. I don't know if they will, but they can.
Yep.
Agreed.
If Arenado has like a really good offseason.
When considering the AL, that's a team that can get back. Okay. Mike, the floor is all yours for the first of our two $300 million budgets.
Okay, so two things are staying similar. I'm bringing in Profar. I'm playing him in left field, and he's 2 years at $15 million a year.
Dude, you're loving Profar.
I like Profar. I think this is a good signing for them. Athletic, defense, can steal bags, and he's shown he can play offensively.
All right, so you're running with that same contract?
Same contract. And I'm doing the same thing. I'm making a trade for Arenado at $21 million for the 2025 season.
All right. And then you're moving Jazz over. We've already brought back Loizaga in the bullpen, which we like, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. Here's the big move.
Oh, boy.
I don't think you have a choice. I think it's a perfect fit. I think it's already close. Bellinger has to play on this team.
Okay.
He has to. And he plays first base here. In this scenario, he play first base. I'd like to get him in center, but in this scenario, I have him playing first. They don't want Walker. Walker would have been signed already. They clearly don't want Walker.
Okay.
So I think you bring in Bellinger, you play him at first base. You know, God forbid an injury happens in center. Great. He slides over to center field now. Okay. And he's good defensively in both spots. He's 29 years old, guys. He's 29 years old. Okay. He's kind of in the middle of his prime years, and he was good last season. I think he fits perfectly in that ballpark. This is a guy that I want to bring in, that I'm excited about bringing in, along with the other moves I've made to get better defensively. You're better defensively. You're more athletic. You've already added to your rotation. You like your rotation at this point. I feel really good about this Yankee team, and I think this Yankee team goes back to the World Series.
All right. Are you taking the entirety of Bellinger's $29 million or $27, whatever it is?
I would take it for the 2 years. Yeah, to lessen my blowback.
Let me just make sure that it is $29 million.
It is. It's $27.5 million.
Okay, it's $27.5.
I already did that.
You're so ahead of
And
the
that
game.
equals $75 million right there.
15 plus 21 plus 27.5 is 75.
Yeah.
So we're at 285.
Hold on 1 second.
And you have 15 million left to spend, and you're not going to use it.
48. What's 48 plus 15?
63.
Oh, and I added Loizaga in there, so that's 68.5 actually. I added Loizaga 8 in there.
Yeah, okay.
So it's 68.5 million there.
So that's 278.5.
Money left over for the
Yes,
pen.
swap.
What?
21.5.
What's your pen here then? Are you going to Gucci pen?
So
I
one
think
thing
you could justify making a Tanner Scott move here if you really needed to.
One thing that I think we also have to consider in this $300 million scenario is you're going to want a couple one-year deals. We don't have that many one-year deals. It locks you into this team again for next year. I know that with the guys you named, Profar, Arenado, Bellinger, you're not getting a one-year situation. But now in the pen, it almost feels like you have to go one-year deals because if you have no money coming off the books, look at this infield. There is one player coming off the books in this entire infield. There is nobody in the outfield coming off the books.
Right.
There is one pitcher coming off the books in the starting rotation, 2 pitchers, Stroman and Nestor. And then you have a bullpen of guys that you would have to make your one-year deals.
All right, let me name one. Let me name one then. 1-year deal. Bring him back. David Robertson, 1-year deal.
Yeah.
Onto this bullpen. Yep. I don't know how he stays effective, but he does. Might as well do that. 1-year deal for him. He's obviously the age calls for it as well. I wouldn't be mad at that.
I like that. Robertson's been good.
What do we think his value is? I can look right now, but
I don't know. I think the market has him. The Spotrac has him around 5 or something. You can give him 7. I don't.
Yeah. All right, we'll call it 1 for 7 because he's gonna. The market's so inflated 2 for 1 for 7. Yeah. That puts us at 285. 25 gives you 14.5 to spend. And then we need a lefty in the pen. Right now we have 8 righties. Is this our
is
there a big 1-year veteran lefty?
How about AJ Minter?
Minter's a good one, but is he a 2-year deal guy or a 3-year deal guy, do we think?
My computer is so slow today. So slow.
Of course, mine too.
I'm looking now. I just want to look at how old he is. If it ever loads.
AJ Minter's market value right now, 2 for 5 a year. So, I mean, we can give him 1 with a club option. Screw you.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to go Minter. And we'll give him six a year.
And there's your lefty. And I do think there's going to be some left over, especially in this scenario, because you have to work in for trades and stuff like that in the middle of the season. You know, we didn't depart with Stroman in this scenario. You know, we could say they do that at something, whether it's this year or next year, you know, in the middle of the year, I mean. So.
Yeah, you're going to have Stroman, Nestor to move. And when we talk about a lefty in the pen, it's possible it's Nestor. You know, you have Cole, Fried, Heel, Rodon, Schmidt. Nestor doesn't have a place in there except as a 6th starter. And if Stroman's on the team, Stroman's going to be the 6th starter.
Yeah.
So Cortez could be your lefty in the pen. All right, so do we feel like this team is now getting back to the World Series?
I think this team most definitely gets back to the World Series.
I like this squad a lot.
Most definitely.
You're welcome, guys. I fixed your issues.
Well,
the Met fan
we're not
fixed your issues here.
We're not. Yeah. No. You actually created our issues.
Well, yeah.
The whole reason we're doing this is your fault. The whole reason we're doing this is your fault.
By the way, no way they were spending any much more. If they were
they weren't.
Soto,
that's why they might be. They might be in a better situation just because you know that they were stopping at Soto.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna drop another $300 million, and I am going to do it because we have to at some point. Just because we did, I think Mike's $300 million is the most realistic we're gonna get. But if they do acquire Kyle Tucker here, that is how we are starting this $300 million. Is a Kyle Tucker offseason. So they get Tucker. They lose Heel.
Yep.
And whether they extend him or not doesn't really matter for our exercise because we're building the 2025 Yankees.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What is the corresponding move after Tucker? I have to look up his salary, but we're going to have money left to spend, so don't worry about it. Gabe, where do you go after Tucker?
After Kyle Tucker, man. At this point, I would no. This one to me is difficult because I still need first base to be taken care of.
Yeah.
I need it.
I will agree that you cannot have Ben Rice or DJ LeMahieu playing first base on opening day. They are not competitive options.
I would go after Kyle Tucker. I would just go a Christian Walker. That's where I would go.
All right, so you go Walker. Hold on, I'm just looking up for Tucker. I do agree with Mike just on the topic of the conversation, and I am fine with putting him into this, but I think the Yankees don't want Walker that much.
Well, they want him as the backup. You know, they want to make this trade happen first, whether it's Bellinger or Kyle Tucker, and then Christian Walker is the next priority. That's why I think it would be the corresponding move, because they've made that intention already clear that they are putting all their focus on one of these trades. No matter what, this is where their focus is. And then after that, they'll kind of see where they're at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think it could still happen, but he's not their number one priority right now, for sure.
All right, so we'll throw in Christian Walker here. I'm getting Ben Rice off the team. He's probably going to Houston.
That's fair.
So with Walker, with Tucker, you feel like your lineup is definitely better than last year's already. Tucker is $16.7 million estimation for this year. Walker probably getting 20, so we've just right off the rip used $37 million on those two players. Gives you 53 left to spend.
We're still good here. We're still good.
You're in a good
That's
spot.
why also you're looking at the Yankees and saying, well, your budget has to be that top tax threshold, which is just over $300 million. That has to be where you're going, because that's the only way to really get the fans engaged with this season, and not that they won't be regardless, but to get them excited about a post-Soto Yankees team after losing the World Series. Mike, do you have a place you go? Do you go to a starting pitcher with this?
Can't see them going to a starting pitcher here. I just think you add Fried. I think they're going to be comfortable here, even losing Heel. I think you're going to be comfortable. Again, I think, that depth signing would happen for sure. But at this point, like, I want to try and I am going to try and improve third base here in whatever way I can, and make sure
addicted to Arenado.
I don't even know what I would do in this spot. I mean, is this a spot for Bregman? You have a lot of money here. Is this a spot where you bring Bregman in?
I don't see you getting Bregman and Tucker either.
I don't think they want to commit to Bregman long term here.
No, I agree.
But you also don't have any third baseman on the market.
No.
So then what do you do? Are you going to, do you just get, hey, we're going to go beef up this pen now. Let's go get Tanner Scott. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you could go Scott, a name that I was going to throw out there for the funsies, Estevez. You could throw out there if you really wanted to, but he's a right-handed guy. I know you want a lefty, so you could do that.
For the fun.
For the funsies.
It is for the funsies. How about this? I know you guys say they probably won't put out a starting pitcher there. I don't rule out the possibility of signing a guy like Walker Buehler. Like, I really don't.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah. All right.
I think he's gonna get good interest too from a lot of teams, so his contract might be a little over market value.
And then I'm convinced, his market value is in the dirt right now. I mean,
yeah.
But I think you would then make it Nestor has to be in the bullpen at that point. Like, there's no, well, maybe no. He's just in the bullpen.
All right, so we're gonna add Buehler here. I was going to go there if Mike went elsewhere, so we're going Walker Buehler. That's an ad.
Did you try and set me up with going starting rotation there?
Yeah, I did. It's all right. Not everyone knows.
I missed it.
Not everyone understands the Yankees winning offseason plan.
We do though.
Not everyone
you already saw it.
Plan D. Not everyone understands Plan D, the winning plan.
You already saw it. That's the problem.
No, I didn't. Walker Buehler. So what are we saying his contract is? Gabe's right. Contract's in the dirt. But
maybe $12 million.
Yeah. I think it's going to be like 2 for 24. And maybe some options in there coming off the injuries.
It would be incredible.
All right, so we're going to call Buehler for 12 there.
You still have money after this, right? You're 59. You still have
59, yeah.
You still have a good amount of money here afterwards.
41 left to spend. I think you have to go to the pen now, whether it's Scott or elsewhere. I don't think it would be Scott with 41 million left to spend. Right now, this is also why I think doing this exercise, it's also why 300 sometimes feels unrealistic. These are a lot of players to add.
Yeah.
Well, I think Scott also is going to I think he's going to get overpaid by one of the teams in the National League.
It's good. I think it's going to be one of those NL West teams, Padres or Dodgers, end up going the distance for him. Time to pull up Spotrac.
What do you want to add?
I want to add a bullpen arm, and I want to see who are our lefties here that. Ooh, 2025 NFL free agents actually clicked.
Yeah, they're not really that spectacular.
No, they're not. And the Yankees are going to want a ground ball guy.
I like how you put Walker Buehler ahead of Carlos Rodon.
Well, he would. Yeah, he would be.
That wasn't...
Rodon might be my 5 starter this year.
I hate Rodon.
He stinks. You can't actually tell me that any of the starters that they have right now are worse than him. He is their worst starter.
Yeah, I think so. He's the 5.
So a guy like Ryan Yarbrough, these are the lefties we're looking at. Like Ryan Yarbrough is one of those guys, and
I'm sure Chafin's still kicking it.
Do the Yankees in the Tucker trade, though, I wanted to say this, I forgot to, and this is where some money's going to come in. I think they'd have to take Presley in that deal. Presley, $14 million.
Yeah, Presley is a free agent, but isn't it vested?
He's got a vested option.
Yeah.
He's got a vested option, though, so I think you have to.
Well, how much is that vested? 14?
14 million.
Yeah.
Take it.
Take it. I would take it.
Take it.
We're taking it.
So we're taking Presley. We're getting him on the 14 million.
Presley will not be worse than Mark Leiter Jr. So
no, he might be as bad, but he won't be worse for sure.
Yeah.
So Presley, and then you have now to spend 27. Good math, Mike. 27 million, and you're at 273. So you have 27 left to spend. I think you have to get the lefty now. You already have Cortez, but you need to get another. That was a big problem for the Yankees last year. And for a lot of teams, really, lefty bullpen pitchers are just not at a surplus right now. Good lefty pitchers. Drew Smiley is one of the available lefties. I mean,
I was about to say it's
This
making
is
me
where
feel like
we're
I
at.
still have a
Left
chance.
us.
Yeah, I still have a chance in the league if this is the case.
Well, on the $250 million budget, you actually might have had a chance there.
Yeah.
What about Will Smith? He's won 3 World Series in the last 4 years. Yankees go roll the dice there.
I'm good.
No. Like
Just
we're at
for
a
the Will
point
Smith
where,
lock?
yeah, we're at a point where I don't know, man. At this point, you'd have to look back at that either adding a second baseman or that third base. I think, you know, I don't think it has to be Arenado, but I think you can look at getting a second baseman here with the money left.
Which
could always
again,
swing a
brings
trade
the,
for
the
Beatty.
market. No, we're gonna pass on that.
All right,
we're actually not gonna do that one.
Oh,
really good offer. Really good.
Okay,
offer.
How about this? How about you actually get? If we want to talk about defense, why don't you get Ha-Sung Kim and put him into that second base spot? You know, let's be serious here for just a second.
But does he not just feel like such an anti-Yankee free agent? Like there's no way he signs here. He feels like one of those guys that, and I agree with you. I totally agree with you. And we could put him in. But he's a guy that I was thinking about last night while I was just making some notes.
Yeah.
He is like a 0% chance, it feels like.
Feels like he's already going to sign with the Giants, too.
He feels destined for the Giants or just a West Coast guy. He feels as if he's a West Coast player.
It's fair.
Because I do want to look back at this in 2 months and say we got a couple of the guys that they got we had here.
Yeah. Do you think they bring back John Birdie on any sort of deal for depth?
I think they could because I think they liked him, but I understood why he didn't get tendered.
Yeah.
I mean, I got that, but I could see them bringing him back. But how much money is that? $5 million, $4 million?
Yeah, I mean, we're not making a dent here. I'm just
you throw him in.
I'm just trying to think because you need a little bit of depth outside of Oswaldo Cabrera being.
Yeah, I like Birdie. So, John Birdie, welcome home.
Birdie could both play third or second base, you know.
And that's one of those 1-year deals we talked about. You want to get those in, $23 million.
Yeah, those vet
spend. Just going to throw one out there that I think, you know, not a scenario here for us wouldn't fit. But Luis Robert, do we think there's any chance that a Yankees trade for Luis Robert? Not a good recent baseball card. You know, back of the card is not good recently, but some athletic upside that they don't have. You think no chance, Mike?
Yeah,
no chance.
Man, this
have we figured out that
base options suck?
Yeah. I mean, the only one is Gleyber Torres. That's the only one.
Every time I look at it, probably every 2 or 3 days, and there's just nothing. And then you look at other trade candidates in this scenario, it's not going to happen.
Perfect.
But then in 2 years, you're sitting there saying, God damn.
Cut him at $15 million then.
Yeah.
It's 15. Cut him.
There. Are we trading for Arenado again? We can't. I mean, We can't.
No, don't do it again. I'm just saying. Like in the most,
we cannot do it again. We cannot do it again.
Leave it. That's it. This is it. This is the team. Add a lefty reliever, and this is the team.
This is it, man.
Yeah,
probably is.
But you've improved.
That's
how much you've improved your team.
300 is tough. This is the best team in the American League, without a doubt.
Yeah.
These last two is far and away the best team in the American League.
So you're good.
I'm just throwing Ryan Yarbrough.
Yeah, there you go. It's a good squad. There's nothing wrong with the squad. I like my squad better, but there's nothing wrong with the squad.
Well, this is better than your squad.
Well, this is unrealistic. I don't think they're getting Tucker.
Yeah. Well, I actually think they have a better chance of Tucker than you give them credit for, but it is a less than 25% chance because it's a massive trade. They just don't happen as
I think Bellinger is more realistic there.
I do too.
I like Belly.
Belly first. You put screw it, say Santander and left, or actually move people.
They are not signing. They are not signing Santander. Excuse me, yawning. They're not signing Santander.
I don't like Santander, man. Scary player.
It was a good yawn because it's not going to happen.
Yeah, they're not.
All right, so we're saying this is our best team.
Yes, this is overall our best team.
A lot of green there.
A lot of green. I haven't really done the greens here. We're green here.
Not many greens to add, so.
Penn's green.
Penn's always green. No matter what, it's green.
Yeah, I agree with that. The pen is always green with the Yankees.
Here it's yellow. Your team, it's yellow. But this is a better pen. I like the ads in this pen more. So Penn's green there. Penn's yellow here.
Okay, good.
All right, so we're saying our best team, their best option here is Bellinger. Arenado, listen, a lot of Yankee fans go to shut this down, this idea of Arenado, but we have discovered here it's a realistic one, and you're not going to do much better if you're trying to win a World Series in 25.
You want a third baseman, this is what you do. If you're keeping Jazz at third, this is what's good. I don't like it. I also saw Fried, ground ball guy, a lot of ground balls to that left side.
Yeah, that's why you
third baseman.
You really need to shore up your infield, because if you have the pitchers you have with Fried, an aging Cole who's probably going to start producing more ground balls on a yearly basis, Schmidt, Stroman, you needed some pretty good outfielders for Stroman
to climb the wall.
But then look at the pen is they love these ground ball guys. So you're right, Mike. I mean, Arenado is you look at the contract, you say it stinks. You look at the hitting, you say I wish we could do better, but in a perfect world, that would be the case.
3
this
for
isn't a perfect
60
world.
stink for a great defender and a Hall of Fame track record offensively. Like, he's just a guy that I would say wouldn't shock me if he had a bounce back year in a rejuvenated situation with the Yankees this year.
You know what?
Would not shock me.
Yeah, you know what? I actually fully agree, because in St. Louis, and you're really changing my mind here, Mike. So claps up to you.
Yep.
In St. Louis, Arenado was expected to be one of the best, if not the best bat in that lineup next to Paul Goldschmidt. He really was, because he was supposed to be the premier guy. In this lineup, especially the one we've laid out here, I mean, he's what? He's going to be like the third, fourth best bat. So, a lot more pressure is off of him as well. I don't know. I think we've discovered you have to make this deal. You have
also,
to.
with Arenado, he's relatively healthy. He plays 150 games a year. Mike's spot on. You don't have to give much up for him. Last year also, let's look at the stats. He had a better year than he's giving credit for. He had 270, over 70 RBIs, hit over 20 home runs. And what's his OPS last year? His OPS last year was 719. You'll take it. On an aging player, though, his OPS has gone down every year the last 3 years. Significantly.
He's not getting on
down.
base as much. That's the problem.
Yeah, he's not getting. His on base was 325 last year, 315 the year before. Slug 394 this past year.
You're
there's
only
concerns.
2 years removed. You're only 2 years removed from this guy being third in MVP voting in the National League.
Well, let me just really quick while we're doing this. We're calling Gabe. I think you also agree this is Plan C here is the best one we came up with today.
Yep.
It leaves you $14.5 million to spend. I think it puts you at a realistic $285.5. Let's just real quick. You make the lineup with these guys. Does Bellinger hit leadoff?
Does he? I think they want Volpe to do it.
All right, so we'll call it Volpe.
You could even have Profar do it, but let's do Volpe.
2 would be Bellinger or Judge.
Judge.
Yep. Judge.
3, you have
Bellinger.
Now is this the Bellinger spot? Yeah.
Yeah.
4 is going to be Stanton, or 5 is going to be Stanton?
Say start Stanton.
Yeah, let's do 4 Stanton and then 5 Wells.
6, we'd probably bounce to Arenado.
Arenado, sure. Jazz 7. Right?
Yeah.
Jazz at 7. It's a good lineup.
8 would be
Jace.
Profar, Dominguez.
Let's go, Jace.
2 guys left.
What's the lefty righty on that?
Well, you switch lefty.
Yep. Okay.
At the end
Go
there,
Profar.
so you have righty. Well, I think look at the lineup too, right? Like Volpe stinks leading off. You have 3 guys down towards the bottom there that you might be able to turn into a leadoff guy. So you have good flexibility. You also have Bellinger, who I think could hit in front of Judge.
Yeah.
You could move Judge and Bellinger around. You can move Stanton to the 5 or even the 6, I think, at this point in his career.
I think you could flip Stanton and Arenado if Arenado really starts to hit.
Yeah, so this is a good lineup. You can move Wells down if one of the guys at the bottom 3 are hitting 260, 270, and you want to put someone who's getting on base more if Wells is still a 230 hitter. So this is a good lineup.
Just think about it. You're more athletic. You have some speed.
Yep.
You're better defensively.
This is one of the best defensive teams in baseball.
Yeah, and it's a longer lineup.
This lineup, I mean, you have a 10-time Gold Glove third baseman. You have a Gold Glove shortstop. You have a good first baseman. You have a very good second baseman. You have a Gold Glove right fielder. Good left fielder. Dominguez, sus in center, let's be honest.
Yeah.
And Austin Wells, good defensive catcher. That's one of the 10 best defensive teams in baseball.
Man, this is a chip team right here.
So this team we're going with.
Look at that. And it started from Mike.
You're welcome, guys. You know, I gotta help. I gotta help little brother out sometimes. You know, it is what it is.
Whoa. You gotta help who?
Gotta help little brother out sometimes.
Don't know who you're talking about. This isn't Mets budget.
Oh God, yeah.
This is Yankees breakdown.
Nobody talks about being big brother, little brother more than the little brother.
Little brother's the only people that talk about big brother, little brother.
Yep.
That's it.
Just needed to say that.
Funny. I love it. I love it.
All right, we're good here.
Tommy Lugauer. We're big brother. Oh, let's move on. Whatever.
Yeah, Lugie's clickbait, though. He's clickbait now.
He is.
All right, good up. Burrows 31. Gabe, thanks for joining. We've decided that the best team here is this squad. This team, $250 million, would win 8 games, and the 275 team would once again be a solid squad. You'd feel good about their chances, but we go to the Plan C $300 million budget presented by Michael Merlo, which gets us to where we want to go in baseball, and that is be better than the Kansas City Royals and the Cleveland Guardians and the Boston Red Sox next year. Very, very low bar for the Yankees, but this gets them to a point where you feel great. All right, well, that's a wrap. I'm sure that, Mike, you and I will be back with Burrows at some point in the next week or two. More rumors, more signings go. Gabe, of course, coast to coast. Mike, we have Sunday recap Sunday night, 7:30. We're back. You're good for that, I'm assuming. Big game Sunday, Jets Jaguars, 1 o'clock. We'll be talking all about it. And then you have the Hardline Monday night. So packed schedule, packed month here in BTO as we come to a close on the year. We'll see you next week. Stay tuned for more Burrows updates and scheduling. Thanks for watching. Go Yankees. Always going to be big brother.